The first 2016 Democratic debate happened last night, and you're probably wondering, who won? Well, the answer kind of depends on who you ask. Now, if you ask the pundits in the establishment corporate media, you'll find that they overwhelmingly think that Hillary Clinton was the winner. But if you ask the internet, as many outlets did, you'll find out that there's actually a completely different answer. Well, now wait a minute. So you've got establishment pundits on one side saying Hillary Clinton, winner. And the people on the other saying Bernie Sanders is the winner. Well, where do I get this information from? Well, actually, I get this from a lot of different outlets. Now, one of them is the CNN Facebook poll that was actually taken right afterwards. And look, before I get into these numbers, I do have to remind you guys, there's some caveats here. These polls aren't exactly scientific. I don't even know if most polls really are all that scientific, but it kind of gives you a gauge of what the internet is thinking. So the CNN Facebook poll had 80% of voters picking Bernie Sanders as the winner of the first debate. Now, the CNN, most people on the CNN Facebook page did think that Sanders had won. However, the CNN writers overwhelmingly picked Hillary Clinton. In addition, CNN online polls throughout the country were showing a majority of the people feeling the burn. Now, Time also had a poll last night from a survey of around 100,000 people. 64% of respondents said Bernie Sanders was the winner. An MSNBC poll, 84% felt that Bernie Sanders was victorious. Over at Slate.com, 75% of respondents felt that Bernie had won the debate. More outlets. The Sacramento Bee showed that 81% of voters felt that Sanders had won. Colorado's 9 News also had a poll saying Bernie Sanders, with over 8,000 people voting in that poll. As of the time, of course, that I collected all this stuff, all this information, 7,000 people voted for Bernie Sanders over at TheStreet.com. 78% felt that they won. Almost 80% of respondents at Fox 5 San Diego had Sanders winning. And even before the debate, this was pre-debate from NJ.com, had Sanders winning at 70%. You know who got the worst? I don't know was picked, beating O'Malley and Chafee. So someone that says, I don't know who won. That beat Chafee and O'Malley. Ouch. Conservative outlet, Drudge Report put Bernie Sanders at 58%. And Fox News had a post-debate Kelly File episode where pollster Frank Luntz actually talked to a group of Democratic voters in Florida. When he talked to them, well, who won, right? He asked them, who do you think won? Bernie Sanders. Words that the group used to describe Sanders included strong, straightforward, confident, sincere, smart, and direct. Wow. Now, what about the moment that made all these people sort of swing towards Bernie Sanders? Now, there's a couple of really, really good Bernie Sanders moments in this that happened during the debate. One of them, during this focus group that was headed by Frank Luntz, well, they asked the crowd, what did you think? What did you think? What was the defining moment? Well, it turns out it was this.
But I think the secretary is right. And that is that the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
You know? The middle class, Anderson. And let me say something about the media as well. I go around the country, talk to a whole lot of people. Middle class of this country is collapsing. We have 27 million people living in poverty. We have massive wealth and income inequality. Our trade policies have cost us millions of decent jobs. The American people want to know whether we're going to have a democracy or an oligarchy as a result of Citizens United. Enough of the emails. Let's talk about the real issues facing America.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you.
And there you are. The most defining moment is his defense of Hillary's emails. Now, there are a couple of other really good moments as well. I'll get to those a bit later. Now, what about the reaction for some of the other candidates? I mean, we know that people overall, they like Bernie Sanders as well as Hillary Clinton. What about some of the others? What about Jim Webb and Lincoln Chafee? Well, it turns out, even according to this focus group, and I know it's not scientific, but nonetheless, very interesting, they were overwhelmingly negative when it came to Jim Webb and Lincoln Chafee. Those guys did not do very well. All right. So, anyway, back to the disconnect between the media and the people. Well, corporate media, as I've said, they've already written a lot of articles about Hillary Clinton essentially crushing it. Oh, she won the debate. She won the debate, right? Well, I think when you look at some of the different parts of a traditional debate and you look at stylistically, they would be right. But these are not traditional times or traditional candidates, especially when it comes to Bernie Sanders. See, there seems to be a huge disconnect between corporate media pundits and a lot of these informal web-based polls. Now, for example, Politico asked a bunch of Democratic and Republican insiders about their opinion about who won the debate. Now, I don't have to tell you that these results will be less than shocking. This is from Politico. Quote, Clinton was the clear winner of the first Democratic presidential debate, according to the assessment of both Democrats and Republicans in this week's Politico caucus. Our bipartisan survey of the top activists, operatives, and strategists in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. Top activists, operatives, and strategists. Political insiders. So they asked political insiders, part of the establishment, who do you think won? Is it any surprise that they chose the establishment candidate? Doesn't surprise me at all. 79% of Democratic insiders surveyed said that she dominated her four opponents on stage, and 54% of Republicans said the same. Quote, I think that everyone walked into this debate looking for her to make a mistake, and she didn't. An Iowa Democrat said, on top of that, Sanders' lack of preparation showed, and O'Malley was trying too hard to look presidential to be effective. Well, now, when you look at the expectations, well, everybody thought that she'd fuck up. Since she didn't fuck up, she obviously won. That's not exactly a good metric. Now, Sanders, it was very apparent that he did not prepare. He didn't need to prepare. He knew exactly what he wanted to say. This to him was him saying, look, I'm Bernie Sanders and this is what I believe. I don't have to practice what I believe. What I believe is what I believe. I'm Bernie fucking Sanders. I know exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it. I know how I feel on the issues. And yes, he did stumble a few times. But he was getting lobbed some pretty heavy curveballs from Anderson Cooper. Some of that red baiting at the beginning, ooh. But, hey, he recovered. And the issue about guns, I actually agree with Bernie Sanders on guns, and I think a lot of people do. He's taking a moderate, middle-of-the-road kind of approach and saying, hey, if we want to do something, let's not fucking yell at each other, because it wouldn't get anything done. I agree with that. Now, back to the political insiders. As I said, it's no surprise that an establishment outlet like Politico would take an establishment tone, and nobody is more establishment than Hillary Clinton. Now, that said, I want to get to my personal impression of the candidates from the debate and how they did. Well, Hillary was very good. She was well-versed. She was very confident. She was well-prepared. And just ready for the debate. Consummate politician. Did very well stylistically. Now, as far as substance, I think that she was a little too non-committal. A lot of her answer, for example, she wasn't even ready to give an answer on the legalization of marijuana. I'm not ready to make a decision on that yet. That sounds a lot like Clinton. Very non-committal. Now, she also was a bit vague. I thought she was going to explain her 5-point plan to reduce income inequality. No, that comes later. But at the beginning of the debate, she said, I'm ready to go through some of my policy proposals. Yet, nope. She really didn't. Not a lot of specifics there. And I didn't exactly like that. She did, however, attack Republicans, and that was fun. Hey, we like that. And she actually took some pretty good swipes at her different opponents. For example, Bernie Sanders on guns. She went after him. O'Malley and granite face, what was it? Lincoln Chafee, who's a block of granite. And O'Malley was good. Thank you for supporting me in the past. That was fantastic. Stylistically, she nailed it. Unfortunately for her, and fortunately for us, we're not as much caring about style. We're actually caring about the substance. And when it came to substance, nobody's more substantive than Bernie Sanders. He started out his introduction as saying, these are the issues, and this is what we need to do to solve the issues. Now, going to Bernie Sanders, Bernie was Bernie, and that's why people like him. He came out, and I said, he started talking about policy, and he did stumble a bit, but he didn't let that stop him. It didn't let it trip him up. I don't think he was very good at foreign policy. That's not something that that's not his wheelhouse, okay? But on racial justice and the economy and income inequality, that's his bread and butter, man. Income inequality and the economy, bread and butter. And when it came to racial justice, he learned from Black Lives Matter. If you remember when that came up, he brought up Sandra Bland. He brought up absolutely Black Lives Matter. Absolutely, here's what we need to do to show the world that Black Lives Matter, and here's what we need to do for the African American community. It was great. It was an excellent answer. And also, there was the issue that I think is incredibly important to me, and I think all of us watching, the issue of money in politics. I want to show you my favorite line from the debate. Watch.
In my view, Secretary Clinton, Congress does not regulate Wall Street. Wall Street regulates Congress. And we have got to break off these banks. Going to them and saying, please do the right thing.
No, that's not what,
kind of naive.
Bam. 100% nailed it. Nailed it. Now, the overall impression that I got from each of the candidates, for one, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, she's kind of out to win it. She's out to win at all costs, whether or not she has to change her positions or not. Now, she says, well, yeah, but I changed my position based on new data. Well, that's good and all, but it doesn't exactly match what she had been standing for. For example, things like TPP, she spoke out 45 times in favor of the TPP and then suddenly backtracked on it. Keystone XL finally made a decision on that. She's been a little late to the party. LGBT rights, a little late on that. Where Sanders has been incredibly consistent. Now, maybe she got the data much later than Bernie Sanders. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on her for it. But it seems like political pandering to me. And she wants the presidency bad. Really bad. That's my impression of her. Now, when it comes to, as I said, Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, he shows that he just wants to do the right thing. He wants to do the right thing. He's genuine, he's earnest, and he showed that by defending Hillary Clinton on the emails. He doesn't want to use that as an attack line, like a lot of people would actually. For example, Lincoln Chafee asked her about that, and she's like, nope, I have no comment. To huge applause. So he was willing to use that as a political weapon. Bernie Sanders, he doesn't want to use that as a political weapon. Why? Because he actually wants to focus on the issues, and that's why people really like Bernie Sanders. Now, Martin O'Malley. This is where I agree with the insiders. He was trying too hard. He was trying too hard to be presidential, to look presidential, and didn't really stand out. I mean, he called out Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That was cool. But other than that, he didn't really stand out. And Lincoln Chafee fucked up. He pretty much destroyed his campaign. When he said, I voted to repeal Glass-Steagall because I had no idea what I was doing. And my dad died. So I had no idea what I was voting for, and my dad died. Please feel bad for me. Oh. That right there, he's done. He's done. Now, Jim Webb. Finally, Jim Webb. My opinion of him is that he seemed pretty confused. I don't even think that he was in the right debate. Maybe he took a wrong turn or something. I don't know. He might not even be in the right party. When they were talking about their biggest enemy that they're proud of making, this guy's like, oh, enemy I'm most proud of making? The guy who threw a grenade at me. By the way, I killed him. You're going to go with that? Really? Okay, all right. Threw a nade at him. And in Nam, and yes, he's dead. He killed a guy. He also killed his campaign. Nobody likes Jim Webb. You got to get out of here, man. So that's essentially my pick, my wrap up for the first 2016 Democratic debate.